wrote this feature film called Power Within, and I felt very strongly about the film and I wanted to make it myself, and I knew that I wouldn't be given the opportunity to make it unless I showed that I could direct films. At the same time, I had a student that I was teaching. It was very much like the Judah character, I guess. He was the inspiration for writing Forged. And he was a young guy, early 20s, very brash, very talented, but wasn't really picking up the nuances of the martial art. I was learning all about the sport, but not about martial art. And so I guess he was the inspiration for the film. A lot of people have asked me, when was it set? Where was it set? I did think about coming up with an imaginative name for the place and time, but from the outset my goal for the look of the film was that it was meant to be nowhere in particular. Kind of like Conan is set nowhere in particular. There are films out there that are in this fantasy world, but the difference, I guess, is that I wanted this to feel like a strong relationship drama as opposed to an action film. Locations and wardrobe are the two things I started with. So basically the look of the film. An armourer friend of mine, John Fox, I was talking to, worked on the Snow River TV series, and he was telling me about these sets, so I went up and had a look at them. As far as the wardrobe went, the way I approached it was I sat down and just did a whole lot of research, wardrobe research. I watched a bunch of movies and hired a bunch of movies that I thought were going to have a similar sort of wardrobe. I had to be really careful. I didn't want it to look Asian. I didn't want it to look a particular way. At the end of the day, I got onto a wardrobe girl that together we sort of designed the look, and she was able to go and buy some material and make some of Derek's wardrobe. Like the stuff that he wears when he was younger, she made actually, and it looks awesome. When I wrote the film, I guess I sort of had a feeling that I'd play one of the characters, but when I went out to make the film, I wanted to be the director and not play either character. And I went out casting and I looked at actors and I looked at stunt guys and I looked at martial artists and I looked at sword masters and I looked at all sorts of people, and I could not find people that had the ingredients that I needed for the characters, which was basically strong actors, strong performances, as well as strong physicality. So the two characters have to be believable that they are exceptional sword masters, and the style of the films that I like is that the actors are performing, they're not being doubled. I met Nico on a film called Subterrano that our film company was hired to sort of do a patch job on. Sort of rewrote and reshot the end sequence and the beginning, and the boy in the film was kind of recast, and we cast Nico for that role. He was very young at that time, and he really had a lot of presence and impressed a lot of people, I think.
Nico's great, and I have to take my hat off to Nico because he trained as well for the film, which is amazing. And then when you see the actual end product, you wouldn't know that he'd only taken up, martial arts with Dave, months before.
I think Nico plays young, bubbly kid and darkness very well. And so when I auditioned Nico for the first time, he came in and we talked about it, and we kind of ran it a little bit, and we kind of had different ideas on the character, or he didn't quite understand what I was trying to achieve in the character initially. So we kind of grinded a little bit.
One day he called me up and said, look, I've got this script and I wanted you to read it because I think you'd be good for the main character. And so I read it, and I didn't like it at the beginning. I was a bit hesitant just because of the style of the film, and the language used is very old world, and so yeah, I had my doubts.
At that time I felt that I could see the potential, I just had to work with it. But then Nico just disappeared. I wasn't quite sure how I was going to make this film. I didn't know where I was going to get my actors from. At one stage I was going to play Judah, because I couldn't find a Judah, and I couldn't find a Derek.
Who would
So,
play Derek?
well, I kind of felt that it would probably be easier to find an actor to be the swordmaster and be minimal in terms of minimal in his physicality, very still but very effective. So I thought I would find a really strong actor to play Derek, and then I could play Judah and be the young guy that flips and twists and does all the more amazing stuff. And so I was kind of thinking along those lines, and then Nico comes out of the blue again.
He convinced me that it was going to be an awesome project to be associated with, and so yeah, I said let's do it. He said let's do it, and I said let's do it.
I think he's really believable in the role.
I think he really passes as a competent swordmaster.
Yeah, it's good, you know, very giving. Like that one scene that we have is quite a high stakes, you know, so it was really great just to work with someone else that you know is just going to meet you there. I've actually known David for years. Actually, do I look there or do I look at you? I've known David for a long, long time. So I went to school with his sister.
Carolyn Bock plays Marla. She is a good friend of mine. I've used her in another film, Huntsman 5.1. I think when I wrote the film, I kind of had her in mind all along. But then when I was doing the casting, I did want to look at other options. I kind of felt like I needed to broaden the my network of actresses that I thought would be suitable.
Carolyn's great. I unfortunately didn't get to spend too much time with her, you know, and I'm just amazed at how well it came up on screen, our relationship and stuff. I really, really admired her.
It's a frustrating character, and all the actresses that I auditioned all said the same thing. They wanted the character to be strong, but the point of the character is that she is helpless.
The first time we met, it was quite cool at David's apartment, and we got to, you know, do some reading together. You know, kind of walking from the kitchen through to the living room, and it was very. I mean, it's a very small apartment too.
It's totally a thankless role that David has written. She has to stand there and watch her men destroy each other. It's shocking. She gets to say what she thinks, but it doesn't make a difference. So I found that really frustrating from a character's point of view.
And it is a bit of a male-dominated film, but the character of Marla is really important. She is the audience. She's the one saying, why are you doing this? She loses big time. Either way, she's going to lose either a husband or a son. And so I really wanted a very strong actress for that role. I think Carolyn is a fantastic actress, and she did an amazing job, and I think everyone talks about her performance. Sargon was played by Tony Nikolakopoulos. I'd used Tony on a Korean television drama that I produced in Melbourne.
Tony, real prick. Tony, I've got nothing nice to say. Let's just say that.
For the Sargon character, I wanted more of a character. You know, I wanted him to put on an accent. I wanted him to play an ethnicity, I guess. Because again, I think in Australia, our casting is really Anglo, and so for the film, I put as much colour into the casting as possible. In my films, I want to make sure that there's, you know, a good sort of international feel about it.
Tony is used to be my old agent, and he's seen me grow up since I was 12 years old. It was actually my second time working with him on a shoot, and it was an awesome experience. We got to, because it's one thing being represented by him, you know, and just talking to him and stuff like that, but another thing kind of bouncing off each other, and that was a lot of fun.
The younger actor, you know, a lot of people comment on, wow, how similar they look. That was always going to be a difficult thing for me to cast, is to match cast someone like that. Yeah. And I was just really lucky. Nico just said, I've got a nephew that kind of looks really like me.
So I got the role. Very quickly after that happened, I started to do some training with David. He was very eager to get me into this kind of like stunt class that he does every so often with these, you know, stunt guys.
I was happy with him as an actor, and then the next job was to make him look like a swordmaster. For about 3 months I trained him, and I had someone giving him weight training to make him a bit stronger, and you know the film is all about tops off, and so we worked on his physical conditioning, and I took him horse riding. I took some of the stunt guys riding. I had one guy that was doubling him for the more difficult things, and so I was sort of training the stunt guy and the actor at the same time.
Yeah, I had to horse ride in case something happened to the main character Nico, but he did awesome by himself. You know, that was challenging, having the discipline and the power over something that's twice your size. Twice my size, because I'm massive.
There was one day where I was doing gymnastics training, and I sort of did this front salt, splitting front salt with a half twist, and I don't know what I did. I was thinking of two different things. When I did it, I kind of came out of it and I sprained my ankle quite badly. This was actually my birthday. Everyone's gone, wow, cool, that looks so good, I'll do it again. And it was, no, like when I landed, my ankle just went snap. I had to push the filming back about a month. It wasn't the only injury in the film, I guess. There was quite a few others. During the rehearsal pre-production period, one of the things I did was with each rehearsal, I would shoot the rehearsal, and I had a bunch of guys, Jesse Rolls and his loco stunt team, who are actually circus acrobats. They went to the National Institute of Circus Arts in Melbourne, and I wouldn't have been able to make this film without them, because they allowed me to exercise my imagination, because I could get them to do stuff and I could stand back and watch. Because I'm one of the performers in the film and the director, I would get someone to jump in and be me, so I could shoot rehearsals. I'd get them to play my lines or do my action while I shot it. So pretty much every scene in the film I've shot and edited and put to music before we went to principal photography. What that allowed me to do is I knew my shots. We didn't muck around when we got to shooting, and we just shot the shots that I wanted or the shots that I needed. And it gave me an idea of how I was going to tune it in, and gave the actors an idea of what it's going to look like. And so it was a really important part of my pre-production process.
So come and take, come and take.
Did it always go the same way?
No, it didn't. I was basically coming off a little video camera, and that was my feedback, so I could see how we were shooting the scenes, but we had no time really for me to keep checking that. And at one stage it broke down. I can't keep going down and checking the video split to see whether it's the shot I wanted or liked. I'll be up in the rafters and I'd be, okay, I want it this big, and Carl would shoot it, and there was a couple of things that did change, because in pre-production my video camera is 16:9. Now we shot Super 16, which is 16:9, but I wanted a very cinematic look, so I wanted 2:3:5 ratio, super widescreen ratio, which is a lot narrower like this. So in order to do that, I've in post-production put black top and bottom to cover up a little bit more of the film, so it felt more like glorious Super 35. So it had that more more cinematic feel to it straight away.
One day where I got sent with Luke to go flying into the pool, and it was a scorching hot day.
The first day of filming was 46 degrees centigrade. So I think in Fahrenheit, I don't know, it's about 120 or something like that. It's hot, hot.
Absolutely scorching hot day, one of the most hottest days we were out there.
The first day's schedule was out in the sun, in the fields, or shooting all that stuff in the grass. We had that day that was 46, and then like 2 days later, the night scene that we're doing, it was like 4 degrees centigrade.
Which is what?
I think like 30 something
Freezing.
Fahrenheit, yeah.
For the keen observer, Luke is actually in the film twice. So I won't say where, you can go and watch the DVD again and work it out. I used him once and then I realised that I needed to use him again, so I kind of disguised him a little bit.
The waterfall, the council at the last moment said that it's too dangerous to go down there. It was a shot that I had to have. You get a beautiful waterfall, there's money on the screen there. Handheld, just trundled down there. The sound guy came. I think he's like 70 years old or something. He was such a trooper, such a great guy. The first day was really satisfying because we had a lot to do. I think we shot 33 shots in 4 locations.
On the first day?
On the first day.
Wow.
David will tell you that I hit him. Complete lie. See that? That's on me, baby. I never hit him during the filming of this movie. See, the director wants to be too hands-on. He's had trouble letting go of his baby. It would be unprofessional of me if I did. It's much appreciated, by the way. Because we don't have a fucking clue. Is your rib okay? You snapped the bloody... Dude, I hit him with a bamboo cane, right? It's that thick. Tony, who's playing Sargon, keeps on pinching my ass. And he has this little grab, goes, Judah! We've got horses involved tomorrow. We've got young Judah stuff tomorrow, as well. That's Sunday the 22nd of January. The year is 2006. Day 2. He's not that stressed actually. I don't know. Are you stressed?
Too busy to be stressed.
Too busy to be stressed. Nobody panic. Is your rib okay? I swear to God. David took me to see a couple of horse riding kind of campy things for a day or 2.
I nearly cut the horses out of the film. To try to get the horses there was logistically crazy.
Yeah, I do look like a bit of an unco, which is okay because I'm kind of supposed to learn and blah blah blah, but
I had to actually have them transported from somewhere else to bring them to that location. I wanted that sort of adventure feel, and I thought the horses were an important element. But short film uses horses, it's just think big. Everyone sort of says, what's the budget of your film? How much have you got to spend? And it's, well, I'm paying for it myself, so it's how much I choose to spend. How much am I willing to spend? Every day you're making those decisions. So I ended up spending about 33,000 Australians, about 22 American. We were shooting an hour and a half out of Melbourne, and if you can't pay your crew, the very least you have to look after them. I actually accommodated them, I had to pay for their accommodation. I had a caterer. I got my mum. I convinced my mum to do the catering. She didn't know what she was getting into. She was like, oh yeah, I can help you definitely, you know. And
Was this breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
yeah, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And you know, film catering, it's an art in itself. You can be a great cook, but
It's totally different. It's totally
film
different
catering
schedules.
and scheduling changes and all that sort of thing is very different. And she felt the stress of it. I wouldn't have been able to do it without it.
Oh, sweet.
Hey, Mum.
There's a couple of actresses that I would love to work with more closely, but Dave said I couldn't have that part.
There was another shot that I nearly cut out of the film too, which was the shooting through the water gag, where Derek is wandering over a water barrel at the very start of the film. I was a week, maybe less than a week before I was due to shoot, and I had no art department. You know, I did most of the art department things that I needed, like the swords. I found some swords that I really wanted and I went and bought them. They're, again, deliberately not of any genre. Finally got a hold of this guy, Matt Duffy, through one guy that I wanted couldn't do it, another guy that I wanted couldn't do it, and just I kept on getting passed over to someone else, and he was like, yeah, I can do it. The two scenes where there was set dressing, the township and the tavern, blew me away. I was so stoked. It just looked $1 million.
Yeah, a lot of slaps. I think a lot of the time he wasn't even filming those slaps, he just wanted to see how many times he could get hit.
Where you find the wench?
That was Judah's strong dramatic moment for him to shine as an actor. In rehearsals, I never quite got what I wanted to get in terms of him just letting go. The thing about the script is there are big emotional jumps in the film as a performer, as an actor, and it's all there. The information's there, but it's all about the history for Derek to snap and jump emotionally, or for Judah to just blurt out, then why doesn't he love me? You know, to go from I'm holding it in to bang, it's all out there. You know, it takes a lot for the actor to find that place where he needs to go. It was really cold that day. I think the cold actually helped the scene. And it's a very serious moment on set to try and get the performance, and we got it. You know, it's what I wanted, that release of emotion. The tragedy of the film is they never talk to each other about it. It's that, I guess, male stubbornness of not wanting to be the one to back down. I'm a great fan of watching human nature. There are a lot of people that don't like to confront issues. If they're having an issue with someone else, instead of talking about it, they choose to, right, I'm never going to talk to that person again. There's a lot of lessons in the film that are relevant to now. When people walk out of a cinema and they're still thinking about the film and still asking questions, that's a good film.
We set up a lot of dollies because the cost was so low. We had to do a lot of the backstage stuff as well.
How to make film agriculturally.
Agriculturally?
Yeah, you know, like rough as guts and with available means.
Yeah, to make them go that way and find stuff to stack it up.
This thing was built out of absolutely anything that we could find. Any planks of wood, any, you know, rocks, pebbles, and well, maybe not that bad, but like you know, bricks.
During the barn scene, I had an accident.
I found myself becoming quite maternal actually over David because he was doing everything from acting and quite a demanding role with all of the stunts and fights and things, plus having that emotional sort of journey to go on. And
the type of fight sequences I like are longer sequences, so it's not one shot, one action, one shot, one action. It's bang, 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 cut, bang, 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 bang. So it flows a bit more.
Just watching him split his focus between directing and then having to go into this acting, and then him hurting his badly and me just going, oh my God.
I've just done a jump spin, a hit, a land, a hit, move there, jump onto the stables. 1 minute I'm jumping, next minute I'm on the ground. I was like, ooh, okay.
It's on film.
It's on film, buddy!
What did I do?
I kind of bruised my thigh down to the bone. I had to keep filming. I had grazes on me, and I didn't think about it too much because, again, my mind focus was keep shooting, keep shooting. During the day we're shooting the barn fight, and at night we had the night scenes. By night I couldn't walk. If you watch the opening of the movie, on the veranda you can actually see me limping a little bit if you look carefully.
Here we are on the set of Forged. Jeannie's just gone out, but it's about to be resurrected.
And I knew that the leg was bad. I had to get through all that filming, and then the last day I postponed for a month.
Wake from your sleep.
I like playing with the audience, I guess, in terms of leading them, manipulating the way they look and see something. So you see the relationship of these two characters, Judah and Derek, in the barn, and you see that they're a match for each other. The expectation I was hoping the audience gets was they're going to the duel. This is the finale, this is the grand, there's going to be this bigger crescendo, big massive fight. Then I flipped that. That was another thing that I struggled with, was the prosthetics of the blood and the guts coming out, because that was again important to me because it had to be very arrestful.
I get cut and my guts fall out.
I think 1 week before filming that shoot, I still had no one to help me build that prosthetic. I finally got onto a guy named Justin Dix. His work is amazing, and he's quick, and even he was like, 6 days is not enough time to do this, We got Nico around to my house, and he lay in my kitchen. We took casts of his stomach, and
it took about 3 hours, I think, of makeup or of the prosthetics to be fitted. That was a pretty cool process, actually. Again, in terms of why I did the film, it was because of cool things like this.
I deliberately made it dark in the end of the film because, again, I didn't want to go, look at this, audience. I wanted the audience to go, what just happened? Who got sliced? The screening I did in LA that was the first time the film got a public screening, and I was sitting in an audience with 300 odd people that don't know me, don't know the film, and the emotion of the audience was palpable. You could feel them ebb and flow, and right on that point, everyone's just the gasping, and it was really magical to feel the effect that you have on the audience. The original ending had Marla come in at the end.
He's just killed Judah, and Marla comes running into that scene and just gives him an earful.
But she comes in right at the end of after the duel, I guess, and totally berates Derek, you know, and just goes to town on him. He's grieving about what he's just done to his son. That's the thing, like Derek, yeah, he lives, but he's the loser. And you know, there are no winners in the film. I guess it's not a very Hollywood ending.
I was just really interested to read the next draft, which had taken that out, and I thought, no, it probably is, that it's because it's about them.
I did want to have a bunch of alternative endings at the end of the film, like in the DVD special features, and I actually scripted them. I had, you know, Judah kills Derek, and then Marla runs in, kills them both, and then I was going to have the whole crew, the DOP and all the other actors and the makeup artists all in turn killing Derek, because I think that's really what they wanted to do by the end of the film, is kill me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Took the film, got it developed, got it transferred to video, and I got that transferred to complete post in Melbourne, and took the DV tapes and edited the film on my laptop. Didn't even have a mouse, I was kind of using my touchpad. Again, because I'd done so much preparation in pre-production, the first phase of the editing was relatively quick, so I cut it together within days, kind of thing, to get a rough assembly edit. Probably spent another month tuning it in, having a look, tuning it in. After I was happy with the edit, I had to online it. I sent the offline, the unfinished, ungraded version of the film, which I put in a temporary soundtrack, to the Los Angeles International Short Film Festival. I received this letter saying you've been accepted into the film festival, and then all of a sudden was like, I haven't finished the film. And I was in New Zealand producing a Korean TV drama there at the time. I had to try to organise my post-production while I was producing this other job on my own film back in Australia. I left, came back to Melbourne, got a lift from the airport to my house, jumped in my car, drove to Castlemaine, where I started on the music. I'd worked with a quartet previously on one of the Korean jobs, and I rang them up and they kind of put me onto this other guy who was a composer and used to work with David Hirschfelder. I ring this guy up out of the blue, Nigel McLean, and we go and meet in a coffee shop. I had the temp cut of my film on my laptop, sort of sat down with him, opened it up in the coffee shop and sort of showed him the film, and we had a bit of a chat.
I couldn't hear any of the dialogue actually because I was in a cafe.
He was like, oh, I got to think about it, stuff like that. And then I think 2 days later I got a phone call from him, and he watched the DVD again and he loved it and fell in love with it and came on board in a really strong way.
This was an exciting time because Martin and myself were formulating an idea to be able to work on things like films, and we're both looking at this as what a great opportunity.
I met with him previously about the feel of the music. We talked about that, trying to introduce a sense of exoticness to it, again, to reflect the film, not set in anywhere in particular.
It's beautifully shot, and this is something that, because you said exotic, and our ears prick up because we can do exotic.
I was talking about sort of soundtracks like Gladiator that sort of have this sort of African feel to it. And he'd worked with an African musician and had done a lot of that sort of stuff. And he had this instrument called the kora, which is a West African harp.
Hi everyone, Mijali Buba Kuyate from Senegambia. Yes. Yeah, I'm playing African harp today, called the name Kora, K-O-R-A, 23 string.
My name is Girish Makwana and I'm performing in this movie soundtrack, Tabla.
It's got to have a massiveness to it because of some of the shots are massive. When you're when you're doing your training with the sword, you know, with the background of the trees. This is the majesticness of this has to be portrayed. You know, blending this orchestral majesticness with this intimate exotic, if you like.
I was just blown away by the score to the film, and Nigel did the most amazing job.
When I went away to New Zealand, he already sort of started on stuff. As soon as I came back, I went to his house and stayed at his house for 2 days, and we just went to work on this music to try and get it right. Yeah, I was blown away. You know, there's a whole lot of tweaking that, you know, he was going in a slightly different direction than I wanted, and I had to sort of bring him back to the feel that I was intending. But you know, the music really was a big part of the film. Grading is another thing that was very important. You know, even at this, before I shot the film in pre-production, I took location stills and I had a play in Photoshop in trying to change the colours and work out kind of. I wanted the film to be, you know, stylish. I wanted it to be cinematic. I wanted to have sophistication, I guess.
As you can see, we've been working around the clock, and we're well and truly past 3 o'clock in the morning. Things you get me to do is just...
It's actually 5 p.m. Liar!
Alright, you got me.
The opening scene of the film, where Marla is crossing the field, all that stuff was shot 1 month later. You know, to light a background that vast is obviously impossible, no budget. So we shot it at dusk, or you know, with low light, and then we graded it back to darkness.
We have used the DaVinci 2K Plus with Colorist Toolbox. DaVinci is a very common grading system. It's real time. That means we can get in and be creative and not wait around for rendering time. This also has a toolbox, Colorist Toolbox, which is once again a little bit more souped up than a lot of DaVinci's, which gives us a bit more flexibility to play around with colours.
The end scene of the film, under the archways, the jewel, that had a very yellow brick. Trish Cale was my colorist at Cutting Edge. She did an amazing job at finessing the colours and creating atmosphere in that location. Went to do a stereo mix in Melbourne at Music and Effects, and we had to do Atmos and even Foley. So I had to. The guys at Music and Effects had all these, you know, sword sounds that they had on file, but I had to listen and I didn't like any of them. It sounded too tinny, it didn't sound quite right. So I went off, brought back some old swords that I had that I didn't worry too much about, and I sat there clinging swords in the sound studio for them to record. And even body hits, I was like hitting myself so they could get the body hits, and brought in bits of wood so we could have, you know, the sword cutting into the wood. So we kind of did the atmos, or the sound of the background, the wind, and put together a stereo mix in a very short amount of time. Basically that had to go up to Sydney. I got onto Cutting Edge, who gave me this fantastic deal to finish on HD Cam SR, and I really wanted to go back to the 35mm, so I wanted to have this HD Cam SR intermediate. I had to do all the titles, did all the titles on my laptop and gave them the files, and finally finished a version of the film. And that day, on the day that it was due in LA, luckily when you fly from Melbourne or Australia to Los Angeles, you arrive. You arrive a day. You arrive 1 hour before you left. Okay. So the film was able to be couriered to Los Angeles on time. After the film festival, I came back to Australia and finished it properly. Rescanned the film, fixed up a few of the shots that they hadn't quite corrected. Went and did a 5.1 surround sound mix.
It's been a reasonably interesting one to do, because unlike many films that have martial arts battles in them and the ethos of it, this was done with very soft hand, and avoided being too sensational with the fight sequences.
It was always intended to go back to film, back to 35. So basically the film is prepared, ready to do that. I just can't afford it. That for me to put the film to 35 would cost more than the film itself. The advantage is every cinema in the world is designed to play a 35mm print. Producing and directing and acting, and I have all these elements that I've sort of had to keep my handle on.
He's absolutely tireless to work for. Yeah, he just doesn't stop until he gets what he wants, which is really, really good actually.
A lot of people read the script and they fell in love with it and they wanted to do it, which is great, a great feeling.
I found it really easy to work with David because we did so much pre-production stuff with us. We could talk to him about certain things.
Well, like even having horses on your production is a pretty cool feat. Jeez, to bring everyone together like that, almost single-handedly, is a big achievement. Yeah, it's
small film.
Jeez, because it's not a small film. Like it's
short, still a short film, but it's managed to have a.
Yeah, I mean it's a very big short film.
I like that he's very, very passionate about what he does. His heart and soul is in filmmaking, this genre of filmmaking, which is very interesting. We don't see a lot of it in Melbourne. It's really amazing to watch because it takes a lot of energy just to do one thing. But when you've got to do two, plus it's his whole thing, isn't it? His baby, so.
A big, big thank you to absolutely everybody who came onto the film to help out. I mean, there was, you know, not everybody could come for the whole thing, but you know, even just an hour of their time, or a week, or you know, in some cases, a couple of months of their time, has, you know, led to a pretty cool product.